up? It's your boy Big Ranch coming to you once again from the shadow of the big house in Ann Arbor, Michigan, home of the Michigan Wolverines, the champions of the state of Michigan, the vanquishers of the MSU Spartans, the annihilators of said Spartans, 49-0. So before we begin, let me raise my Coors Light to that. Joining me this week is the one, the only, our man in the desert, producer Jay Bizzle.
Yo, yo, yo. First of all, let's give it up for the Arizona Diamondbacks making it to the World Series. It's because I moved to Arizona. That's on there. But man, let's get rid of Sparty from the Big Ten. Just get him out of the conference.
What kind of talk is that? This dude is talking crazy. Before we go anywhere else, though, there will be a virtual riot in the comment sections if we don't have a desert heat check.
Desert heat check. There's nothing. Desert heat check is nothing right now. It's 70 degrees, and I'm loving the cool weather.
Oh my gosh, this guy! Come on, man! You got to heat it up out there, brother. Anyway, one thing that doesn't need to get heated up is the Michigan Wolverines. They annihilated the Spartans 49-0, doing what they needed to do, taking care of business. There was a lot of distractions going into the game that we'll get into in just a little bit. But as far as the game itself, it was an utter annihilation of our rivals, the Michigan State Spartans. I almost felt kind of bad, but then I remembered it's Sparty.
There's several storylines in this particular game that just continue onwards. I mean, the story of redemption, Jaden McBurrows getting interception. He's the same guy who got pummeled by those shardies.
All right, take it easy.
That went on there. So I love that storyline. JJ McCarthy just like continuing onwards, playing his game and getting the recognition of everyone on there. Now all of a sudden he's on the Heisman watch list. I mean, what's going on?
He's the Heisman favorite on a couple of betting sites, one of which is FanDuel. If you sign up with our promo code, now they upped it. You won't get just $75. They've upped it to $100 bonus cash. So
click on that link below. Make sure
on the link below. Put down a futures bet for JJ McCarthy, Heisman Trophy winner.
Another storyline that's on there, obviously, we continue onwards is, dude, what is with Donovan Edwards, man?
Oh, man. Come on, man. I said you was on the roll, man. Come on, man. Why are you bringing us down all of a sudden? Holy smokes. We're going to skip that for now. Let's skip that for now. JJ's on a roll. Two of the things that he was doing was passing it to Colson Loveland and A.J. Barner. And wouldn't you know, touchdowns for both of them. Am I right? I think there was.
It was just child's play. These tight ends were like, I mean, some of those throws were just NFL-like. Back shoulder for that Colson Loveland touchdown. I mean, that was crazy. Just watching that linebacker chase Colston, put it on his back shoulder. The linebacker had no clue what was happening. Just zips it in there.
I'm just saying it this way. You know, I almost hate to say it because it kind of puts a damper on things, but we bet big that Blake Corum will come up big again, but he only got 59 yards this time rushing. So all of our parlays went. But the upside of the game was, even though Blake Corum wasn't running a ton, the tight ends were doing all the dirty work, and they were getting a lot of those yards. So I raised my glass to the tight ends. And you know what? In hindsight, we should have put some money on the tight ends because it was National Tight Ends Day this past weekend.
And those tight ends were tight, man.
Oh, man. Those were a couple tight ends right there. Anyway, man, what else was good? Mikey Sanistrell doing it again. You know what I mean?
I think this
final score, 49-0. That means Mikey Sanistrell outscored the entire Michigan State team. So I raised my glass to Mikey Sanistrell.
He just continues to like read the plays correctly. This defense just continues to gel more and more. You're seeing a lot of people switch in and out, defensive line. Chris Jenkins was a little bit banged up, and then all of a sudden, you know, you see Josiah, what's his name?
Oh, Stewart
come in and, you know, just work it. Like this team is running on all cylinders right now.
Oh, I'm telling you, that was the other thing that you would love to see, that you loved to see, is the depth of this team, the depth. You know, we had a lot of guys that might have been banged up and a little bit nicked up, but you know what? We're managing it all well. We're managing it all well because there is such depth on this team. But man, oh man, going back to the Mikey Sandistra, holy smokes, he. I'm just so proud of that young man. The progress that he's made over his Michigan career. You know what I'm saying? Came in as a wideout, switched over to the defensive side of the ball, and made big plays in big games, even last year, especially at OSU, and now this year at Spartan Stadium with the pick six, second pick six of the year for him. So again, I raise my glass to you, Mike Sandstrom.
Roman Wilson continues his touchdown per game. I mean, it's just too easy now. It literally is too easy for him to get a touchdown. And so you saw a lot of he only had 2 catches, 50 yards, 1 touchdown, and he's done. He was like, what else do you want me to do? Like, it's done. And then
the other thing with Roman and the rest of the starting lineup is they only play about right around 3 quarters. You know what I mean? But it's more like 2.5 quarters.
Yeah, I would even conjecture it's almost like 2.25, 2.5, because they substitute so often.
Yeah.
Like they're not on every play. And then by the third quarter, it's just no one has scored on us in the third quarter.
I mean, ridiculous. People are going to say weak schedule, this, that, and the other. But the fact that this team stays focused, you know what I mean? That they make adjustments coming out of halftime, all these things, to put up numbers like that, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you might say it's not the strongest teams in the world, but they're still Division I athletes, okay? These are still Power 5 opponents that we're playing, you know what I mean? Especially in the Big Ten. Minnesota, Nebraska, and now Michigan State. Oh, I almost forgot Rutgers. And you know what? This brings me to my next point.
Oh.
Fans of the show have known that I have dogged Rutgers mercilessly for being the worst run football program in the Big Ten. You know what? I take that back. The worst run athletic department in the Big Ten. But now, I'm going to have to change my tune. Rutgers, you are no longer the worst run athletic program or athletic department in the Big Ten. That honor now goes to MSU.
Oh, God.
I mean, what are we doing, MSU? What are we doing? You know what I mean? Besides the depth to which their football program has sunk in on the field, now they're flashing fascists on the scoreboard.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Man, oh man. Look.
And it was like it was a trivia question? Like,
yeah.
I don't even understand that part.
Well, here's the craziest part. So they put out the press release making it sound like, it's this third-party vendor, They were like, this third-party vendor, we won't be using them anymore. So it sounded like they were throwing the third-party vendor under the bus. But turns out this quote-unquote third-party vendor wasn't really a third-party vendor. It was basically a YouTube page that they were streaming without permission. And then the guy, when he saw the controversy about his, because if you look up his YouTube page, I forgot what the name of the page was, but anyway, you look up his page is just, trivia quizzes. He just makes trivia quizzes, you know what I'm saying? So on his YouTube page, he was like, oh yeah, this was just a trivia quiz, and in that context, there's nothing wrong with the question, like where was Hitler born? But he was like, yeah, you shouldn't use that in like a public setting for like a stadium. And then further than that, he said, yeah, they never actually asked me permission to use my video in the stadium. They just started streaming it. Oh my gosh. It's just mind-boggling. Anyway, MSU, I now transfer the worst run athletic department to you. Rutgers, you're off the hook.
Is that an honor or is this
Hey, they're bowl eligible, baby. You know what I'm saying? Sure, there's still like tens and almost no, I say over $100 million in debt still. So fiscally, they're still the worst, but at least they're not. You know, well, yeah, there's just bad stuff going on in MSU.
Oh, now they'll at least get a couple mil for the bowl game, right? Couple
There
mil
you go. Well, actually, who knows what kind of bowl game, And the bowl game, they might not make enough money to cover all the expenses, but they're still bowl eligible. So there's
Yeah.
that. Anywho, going back to the game, man, what else can we say about this game other than that it was a complete domination? It was everything that we wanted to see coming from the game. The only disappointment for me was the end of the first half. We could have went up 35-0, but it was a little sloppiness with the clock management. But what are you gonna do?
There's an orgy in the end zone.
All right, take it easy there, RG3. Holy smokes, this guy. I knew you were just itching to say that. You were just itching to say that. Oh, yeah. Anywho. Man, this is what a crazy week. A crazy week. Like we said, going into rivalry week, you see all the buzz about the game, the excitement, the hoopla, but all of that kind of got sidetracked a bit with the latest revelations.
Wow.
What was happening. And man, oh man, just as the days went on, one by one, more revelations coming out. Man, it's just getting crazy. It's getting nuts. Absolutely.
Even today, another revelation.
What was the newest revelation? What do you got?
What was it? That he what was the latest revelation? I don't, it's like flustering because I open up my X feed, not Twitter, sorry, formerly Twitter, and then all of a sudden it's just like it's just another revelation that's coming out. This one was now that apparently they're looking at other schools who are doing the same thing. I'm not going to name the school because it's all allegedly, but that now things are going to start getting blown up everywhere.
All right. Well, I don't know about any of that, but for those who have been hiding under a rock or was too drunk after the victory, or I should say, too drunk before the victory, because this came out when Friday, I think, or is it Thursday?
I think it was Thursday night going and then going into Friday.
That sounds correct. Yes, Thursday night going into Friday morning before the game. Bombshell revelation accusing the University of Michigan of a vast conspiracy to steal signs from their opponents. It all centered around a low-level staffer named Connor Stallion. And that's where it started. They said it was a low-level staffer. Apparently, he had done advanced scouting in order to steal signs from opponents. But as the days went on, more and more details of this scheme became more apparent. Well, I shouldn't say apparent. It became revealed. They said that over the past 3 years, over 30, no, what was it? Tickets to over 30 games had been purchased. They said that
on his own dime.
Well, again, we don't know whether it's on his own dime or this, that, and the other. But they were saying that the fact that it was over 30 games in 3 years showed that it was a vast. It wasn't just a lone wolf out there, but that it constituted a vast spy network. And many people were like, listen, there's no way one kid could set all this up and run it by himself, because they were saying you got to buy tickets, you got to arrange for people to go to these games, you got to arrange for them travel, accommodations, the actual tickets themselves, food and beverage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of just logistics alone is a big deal. Then on top of that, you got to collect all the data. You got to get it all transferred. Then you got to compile it. Then you got to interpret it. And then you got to make it into something that makes sense so that can be used. And they were like, there's no way one guy could have done all this. Hence the accusations that this was a vast, not just a lone wolf operative, but a vast espionage infrastructure in place here at the University of Michigan. But to challenge all that, the latest revelation that was really that I saw today was the fact that this guy, Connor Stallion, he actually has been gosh, how to describe him? He's been like a Michigan super
Fanatic. Yeah.
fanatic, who has been doing, all sorts of just, I don't know how to describe it without sounding bad for him, but I'll just lay out the facts and I'll let you put in the words to describe it for yourself. He's written a 500 to 600 page manifesto, and that's the word that they used, because I think that's how he described it himself, that he put together a Michigan manifesto where him and a group of, I think he said like 5 or 6 other people were putting together this manifesto in order to prepare to lead Michigan in the future. Because his vision was to become the head coach or somehow leading the University of Michigan football program in the future. And they needed to start this groundwork now so that when the time came for them to step into these positions of leadership, they could hit the ground running. So this guy is, I think, 28 or something, and he's been working on this Michigan manifesto for years. So when you think about this guy that's already compiled a 500 to 600 page manifesto, and you say, there's no way one guy could have done all this. I say no. If some dude is putting together a 500 to 600 page manifesto, then to me, he's more than capable of running a aspiring by himself without any formal involvement or help of infrastructure from the university.
That's a Michigan difference.
But the thing is, he didn't go to Michigan. He went to the Naval Academy. Oh my gosh. This is where it gets nuts. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he volunteered, right? Since he volunteered as not a staffer, he's just a volunteer, and then finally last year, I think they put him on salary.
Yeah.
So come on, man. There's just what?
No, I said go ahead.
There's just a part of it where, man, if you are a fanatic, literal fanatic, yeah, you'd be following Michigan. I mean, clearly he has that military background, right? Which is disciplined, taking all the information, being able to analyze it and see, like, he's not a grunt. He went to the academy. He's a smart dude. So, like, what do you do against your opponents? You're gonna scout. You're gonna do all those things. But my issue with all of this is that it's obviously being purported in the media, but take a look at every single other coach, player, anyone who's knows the game outside of what us peons know in the public, right? The only thing that we know is what we see literally on TV, through the media, stuff like that. But the players themselves, every single player, coach who's been in collegiate football and even in the pros. Well, pros doesn't matter because they have a microphone in the helmet, so they can't hear the plays anyways. But any one of that knows you don't just sit there and look at an opponent and be like, I don't know what they're going to do. We'll just guess. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? Of course they scout. Of course they scout.
Well, listen, I don't know here or there, but any of that. I could just only focus on what we know so far about the situation. And man, oh man, this guy. The other thing that came out today about him was apparently he had been exchanging text messages with another recent college grad, and at the time, one of his buddies, and he was telling his buddy that, hey, because I guess his buddy wanted to get into, um, you know, become join get a job in college football. And so Connor says to him, hey, the way I'm doing it is I am basically deciphering all the signs from opposing teams from Michigan. He said, and the thing that was important though in the text exchange between him and the friend was, I'm getting the signs from the TV feeds or the TV recordings, and I'm deciphering them. Okay, so that's what he was bragging to his friend about, the other friend. And he said that he's been able to leverage that in order to get a relationship with members of the Michigan staff, specifically Chris Patridge and Jay Harbaugh. I think in my mind, hearing all that, I think what this kid did, he might have started with that, and he might have gotten a little bit of success from that. And I think his ambition got the better of him, and he started to go more and more further out in trying to get the signs and decoding them and making a name for himself that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was overly enthusiastic based on the small success that he had of deciphering signs using the TV feed, saying, oh man, if I can do this much with just the TV feed, imagine what I can do if I had more, basically if I had more data. And him being the ambitious young man he is, him being the fanatic that he is, it wouldn't shock me if he went not just one or two steps further, but like 157 steps further, and he created this vast network himself. And you might say there's no way he could have done that. But like I said, if you're the type of kid that's going to write a 500-page manifesto, then it's not a hard reach for you to plan out, 6 trips a year to opposing teams. You know what I mean? So that's what I think happened. And I think that, the coaches were like, oh man, I think in the coaches' minds, they were like, oh, yo, this kid broke this all down just by getting the TV feeds. And maybe that was naive on their part. But I think that's how he represented it to them. And they're like, man, we got to get this, this kid's doing good work. And then he was moving up the ranks and making a name for himself that way. I think that's what happened. As
But
far
then
as the sign
your hypothesis here, the correct thing for him to do is to take the blame, the knife, everything, fall in the grenade, and say, I'm the one who only did it and no one else knew about it. I lied to the coaches when they said, hey, like, how are you getting this info? I'm just watching TV. But in fact, him and his private network of informants, which, by the way, it's literally probably, one of his friends, cohorts, whatever it is, goes to the game, records it like everyone else does on their phone. But I guess the illegal part of it is that if you're employed by the universities, you're not allowed to do that, right? But if it's not someone who's employed by a university, then that's a personal fan just recording, which is really weird because they're recording just the signs and passing that along. So ideally, this guy falls on the grenade and says, it's all my fault. I'm going to quit. But the NCAA will still give us some kind of sanction because they don't believe us. They never have. They're continuously witch hunting us nonstop, and Burgergate's not even done with.
Well, this is where it gets very Games of Thrones-y. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, this is like Game of Thrones. I mean, you got this dude that's acting like Littlefinger. You know what I'm saying? He's got
Ooh,
his eye on the on the Iron Throne. You know what I'm
I
saying?
like that. I like that analogy. I like that analogy.
Right, but he is like Littlefinger. He's been making all these plans and schemes ever since he was a young man to try and get the Iron Throne. You know what I'm saying? And then on the other side of it, you got the reports of a lot of this information being leaked by a Michigan booster slash a Michigan alum, Jim Stapleton, um,
Wow.
who apparently hates Jim Harbaugh and wants to see him gone. So apparently he's been leaking information about certain scenarios to the NCAA.
Oh
So
my
this is
goodness.
all very, very
Where are
Games of
you getting
Thrones.
this juicy info from? Where are you getting
John
this?
U. Bacon. John U. Bacon put out the word today that, or maybe it wasn't today, maybe it was yesterday. But anyway, he was saying that this guy Jim Stapleton has a long running beef with Jim Harbaugh, and he just became a member of the NCAA infractions committee. Okay, so we have a Michigan alum, a Michigan booster on the NCAA infractions committee. So for us, it should be a benefit, if anything. But instead, it's turning into, if John U. Bacon is correct, a poison pill, if you will,
Oh,
because of this man's personal grudge against Coach Harbaugh. And
well,
right now, Coach Harbaugh is looking like he's looking more like Ned Stark. You know what I'm saying? My man,
poison cup of wine.
I'm telling you, bro.
We talking about purple wedding right now?
Oh my gosh, this is getting crazy right now. You know what I'm saying? The intrigue, in the palace, you know what I'm saying, is crazy. But anyway, because you remember last year when we had to fire, what was his name? Matt Weiss?
Yeah.
Remember? Huh?
Yes, Matt Vice.
Yeah,
Keep
remember? We had to fire him, and because of some computer allegations, blah blah blah. So remember, they had to bring in a third party investigative team to review all that, blah blah blah. So John U. Bacon was saying that, or maybe it wasn't John U. Bacon, but I forgot what news source it was. But they were saying that an outside party had come in to investigate something with the computers on the Michigan, you know, um, at the University of Michigan football, blah blah blah. And while they were doing an investigation, they found, this stuff, right? So then John U. Bacon is saying that the guy that reported the discovery of this material was Jim Stapleton. Because again, he's a Michigan insider, he's a Michigan booster, alumni, yada, 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 a high hitter within the organization. So he knew about what the investigative team was finding. Then he leaks that to the NCAA and says, hey, man, turns out that Matt Weiss, we had to let him go. But um, turns out that while we were investigating him for his shenanigans, he might have had a copy of the database from Connie Stallion that shows the signs and what they mean from opposing teams. Like, well, how do you get that? Well, this kid Connie Stallions is the one that compadre. Who Connie Stallion? Well, he's a low level, staffer, but he just got paid on staff. You don't say. I do say. And then they started going to the Big Ten. Then the Big Ten was like, what? What happened? So then the Big Ten said to all the schools, hey, man, did you know about this Michigan thing? And all the other schools like, yeah, man, we had heard about it. So then all the other lower houses, like, remember what was, oh, gosh, Walter Frey, House Frey, you know what I'm saying? That's supposed to be under us because we the kings of the North, you know what I'm saying? Right? Because who is the king of the North? You know what I'm saying? University of Michigan, two-time
Enterman.
two-time defending Big Ten champions. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody, we are House Star, Kings of the North. Is that true or untrue? Right?
Enterman.
That's what I'm saying. But those, all those other houses under us, they were bucking under the current system. You know what I'm saying? So they were like, oh man, yeah, we had heard something about, big Michigan having a spy master. And then that's where it really got rolling. You know what I'm saying? So you know, that's what some people are speculating is what's happening. But
Well,
yeah, there's a lot of things at play. There's a lot of people that are pushing the narrative. There's a lot of people that want to see the downfall of certain peoples. You know what I mean?
I mean, he still hasn't signed his contract.
Does he even have the contract still? We don't even know that.
Supposedly, he should have had it, but yeah, I mean, if he didn't sign it, the extension and everything like that, I don't know.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm saying. This is all crazy intrigue right now. I wish it would just be about football, but there's a lot of, it's a lot of Games of Thrones going on right now, man. There's a
So
lot of Game of
the
Thrones.
little Ward manual, then a little what is he like? Is he
He's
the
he's uh he's Varys, you know what I'm saying? He's kind of fat,
he is
kind of
there.
chubby. You know what I'm saying? He's bald, you know what I'm
And he
saying?
has whispers all around. He has
Oh,
whispers.
he's got the little birds, you know what I'm saying? He's got his little birds floating around all over the place, you know what I'm saying?
We
So I'm
might have to
telling you, man,
diagram this out as Game of Thrones because
what are you nuts? I ain't got no. You see any manpower behind me? There's no production crew here. Holy smokes! What do I look like? Kind of stallion? Come on, man! Ain't nobody gonna be working that hard.
network of spies out there.
But I'm telling you, that's all the things that are happening. So like, all it took was one overzealous kid, and now they're using that. I think, um, to try and bring all this down. I don't know how else to say it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because of yeah. Anyway, I'm like exhausted,
I know.
exhausted.
You did some deep dives on this.
Oh, you wouldn't believe. Because again, I don't just look at all the Michigan stuff. I look at all the OSU stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the OSU blogs. I look at all the uh Penn State blogs, et cetera, et cetera. Like one of the prominent little video clips that they show in a lot of those OSU blogs is of the game last year
Yeah,
at the Horseshoe.
I saw it.
You saw that one. You know which one I'm talking about.
Like,
Yeah, CJ Stroud. You know how if you know anything about college football, what they do basically is, they'll get to the line, get into their formation, right? They'll look at the defense, right? And then they'll step back, and then the quarterback will look toward his offensive coordinator or toward their sideline. Then they'll get the signal of based on what formation the defense is in, what basically what play they want to run for like to simplify it. So to get information, they line up, right? Then CJ steps back, looks at his sidelines for the signal, right? And as you see CJ Stroud looking at the sideline for the signal, you also see Connor Stallion on the Michigan sideline also peering over to see what the signal is. As soon as CJ comes back to get the hike, you see Connor Stallion and the rest of the Michigan sideline going like this, which indicates pass, 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 right? And then once you know, right, the all the OSU blogs take that and go, evidence that Michigan was cheating in the game last year, and that they use that as an advantage to win the game. What they don't tell you though is that play was a 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line for OSU, and you know what happened as a result of that play?
touchdown.
Touchdown for OSU. So you can say all the stuff you want, but it's kind of like what Deion Sanders was saying. It's not like baseball. Just because you know it's a pass doesn't mean that you're gonna knock it out of the park. You know what I'm saying? It's not like baseball. Like Dion was saying, like Coach Prime was saying, like Aaron Rodgers was saying, just like you were saying, anybody that's in the know or has played the game of football at a high level, they all know that just because you might know exactly what's coming doesn't mean that it gives you a huge advantage to stop it. So even though Michigan was like, oh, it's going to be a pass 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line, you know, kudos to CJ Stroud and the OSU team. They still got a touchdown off of that play. So at the end of the day, you want to say we cheated and that's the only reason we won. I'll say no. It's not the only reason we won. I would say that that's hardly a factor at all as to why we won. But anyway, it's neither here nor there because we'll have our opinion, they'll have theirs, and you're not going to change their opinion. The only opinion or decision that I care about at this point is that of the Big Ten conference, because the conference could come down on us. for something, the NCAA, and I don't know if the college football playoff, that entity, because it is a separate entity from the NCAA. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what action, if any, that they would be empowered to take if Michigan were to somehow get penalized by either the Big Ten or the NCAA.
Let's look at this in all contexts, right? One, I think CFP, no matter what, they'll pick teams that are going to bring the money in. I'm sorry, they will. They'll bring in the teams that they feel like are worthy. We are worthy, and we bring in a lot of money. They're going to pick those teams. So that's being said. The other part of it is, I mean, to say that sign stealing, any of this stuff, in spite of this vast network, which if you think that only Michigan has this vast network, I would really challenge y'all to think about this in the totality of the NCAA teams that are out there, especially the high-powered teams. If you think that they're just planning and they don't suspect anything from the other side, okay, fine, you're not in the know. But in all of this and everything that happens, the NCAA, this is not the first time that they've dealt with sign stealing. And if you go through the history of it, there's examples of it. One I saw on the social sites were like Baylor. Baylor got caught. They literally had assistants go and watch other teams, and then they got caught. Infraction, they suspended the analyst for a game. They suspended the assistant coach for a game, and then it was done for. Did you hear about it? No. Did anyone know about it? No. And all of a sudden, because it's Michigan, and maybe because of this elaborate Game of Thrones type of thing, it's getting blown up for other purposes that's on there. I just find this very, very laughable and almost hypocritical of people. And again, all the media versus what the players, coaches. I mean, coaches are coming out and saying it happens, but it still doesn't matter. You're not going to win the game just because you know the science. Matt Rule, I mean, another Big Ten coach, like all these people are coming out and saying these things. I find it, this is just a witch hunt. It is a witch hunt.
I thought the funniest comment, though, that another coach made about the whole thing was Kirby Smart. Did you hear his? That was hilarious. I got it stung me. It stung me when he said it, but in hindsight, it is funny. They asked him, Coach Smart, did anything stand out in that game against the University of Michigan that made you suspect that they were stealing signs? And he said, huh?
The CFP when we play them.
Yeah, when we played them in the CFP, and he goes, no, nothing in that game indicated to me that they were stealing signs. Oh man. Oh, that hurt. That hurt. Not gonna lie, but it was funny. It was funny. So raise my glass to you, Kirby Smart. Yes, son of a gun.
Hey, he has the rings. He can say what it needs to.
What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Anywho, man, oh man, this is, like I said, it's crazy. There's intrigue in the palace. There's crazy. Every day there's a new revelation that makes you go, "What the heck?" But like I said, who's to say what's going to happen? We don't know. We don't know all the details. Not that everything's come out yet. The people that have been the most silent about this, are the NCAA. They haven't said not a peep about it, other than the fact that we are being investigated. So, at this point, like we were saying before, it's all speculation.
But then, like, this is also the hypocrisy of it all, is that these sports writers, right? Yeah. These sports writers just throwing everything out into the public, right? And Michigan has to take the stance. We cannot comment on it as an ongoing investigation that might be on there, right? Can't say anything. And yet all this gets spewed out there like it's just basically facts. and NCAA, no problem. Let it go on. We're gonna go through our due process.
No, but because it's the NCAA doesn't care about the court of public opinion. But in reality, when you think about it, I mean, no matter what the NCAA might say, as soon as you say that, program X, whatever that program is being investigated, the rivals or the haters of that program are just going to pile on. You know what I mean? No matter what the facts or lack thereof might be. So, it's to be expected. It's to be expected. So, yeah, I can't get too worked up about all the haters saying that, that we're all cheaters, and then all the things that we've done. Or I should say let me take a step back. Now I'm become a super fan, like Connor, what's his face? Connor Stallion. I got to de-stallionize myself. I got to say that all the accomplishments that the team has achieved, all the successes that they have achieved over the past, few seasons, in my mind, aren't going to get diminished. But again, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because even before all this, the haters were going to hate. They were going to try to diminish or badmouth the program anyway. So nothing changes in that regard. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, they're harping on us for week schedule, right? Right before this Thursday happened, and then all of a sudden now we're cheaters too.
yeah. So it's just water off the back. You know what I'm saying? Just water off the back. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing on a string. You know what I mean?
All you do is got to bring those wins. Bring those wins.
It just sucks that of all the weeks that it comes out right before the bye week too. You know what I mean? So it's going to be 2 weeks of this, where this is the only talking point for Michigan football, is the scandal, until we're able to get back on the field and get another W on the board. So yeah, it's going to be a heck of a time. A heck of a time. I'm gonna still say this though, regardless of what happens, if we go undefeated, I'm gonna get that record tattooed on my arm. You'll see right here.
It's on video now. You have now stated that if we go undefeated 15-0, you will be
whatever the record is. Whatever the record is, as if we go undefeated, I'm gonna put team. What number is it? Team 140.
44.
Team 144, and then the record right underneath it.
And a Michigan M.
Of course, a block M. Of course, a block M. You know what I'm saying?
All right. It's on tape right now.
I
also will double down on that and say, if we go undefeated, win the national championship, 15-0, I'll be tattooing that on my back, because that's what Harbaugh said. He said he's going to tattoo it on his back, 15-0, block M.
Yo, you might as well just get a chess piece then. You know what I'm saying? Just get a chess piece. Boom, block M. Boom.
Like this, like M, but not on a shirt. It'll just be right underneath it.
That's what I'm saying. Just right over the heart. You know what I'm saying? Right over the heart. You know what I mean?
I hate tattoos, but I am saying if we go 15-0 national championship, I'll be getting a tattoo of 15-0, block M, team 144.
Wait, where's the championship game this year?
Houston.
So if it happens, the day after down in Houston, because I'll be at the game. Yes. The day after, I'm gonna go to a reputable Houston tattoo parlor and get it done.
Yes.
So I say
on video. It's on video right now. It's on video.
So that's despite anything, and like I said, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But right now, all we can focus on is the task at hand. Okay, so I'm gonna raise my glass to Jim Harbaugh, the rest of the staff, minus Connor Stallion. The team, I'm gonna say, hey, do a great job of keeping the eye on the prize. Focus on what you can control. Get the job done. 15-0. Let's go. And we say, go blue.
Go blue!
It's great!